Hi there, and welcome back to a new Devlog episode. It's been a while since I did one. That's because I've changed a few things. I wanted to make the devlogs more impactful, more in depth. So I wanted to spend more time before I showed something. I might have gone a little bit too far this time. That's why I decided to make one now because it's been a while. There's a few things I want to show off in this episode. It's gonna be about the quest generation that I've been working on. That's the biggest thing, of course. It's not done yet, but I want to show what I've done up until now, the decisions I've made, the work that's been implemented in the game for now already, but also where I want to head with it. Because I've been working on quest generation, I had to work on a lot of other things as well in order to tie everything together. One of those things is the event system, so I'm also going to show off a few things of that. That's going to be cool. But I've also done a few other things more related to combat, just some combat improvements here and there, and some improvements to the NPC system, NPC interactions between each other, mostly. So, having said that, let's dive in, and we're actually going to start with combat and NPC improvements right now. I've staged a small fight here in the center of the city between a bunch of goblins and the stall vendors. When an enemy or an NPC, I should say, encounters an enemy, they will start fighting each other. So it's not just the player now, it's also each other. Here I'm highlighting a little bit the new hit effect. So we already had blood splatters, but I've also added this flashy effect to spice up the combat a little bit. Something else you might be noticing right now on the floor are the loot bags. A loot system has been introduced by now, still very basic, but loot can be dropped from enemies and can be picked up by the player. So let's see what's in one of these bags. A big X, nice. During the last Unity Asset Store sale, I actually took the opportunity to buy a few extra assets. I bought a few animations, which are going to be really cool for the expanding the combat system. But I've also bought a few new enemies, highlighting them here right now. The first one is the flying eyeball. I just wanted a few more non-humanoid enemies to spice up the environment, because everything currently is mostly humanoids. So we have a flying eyeball, we have a new cave bug. This one is really cool, can do some rapid attacks really quickly succession. Other than the cave bug and the eyeball, we also have this cool fishman, a little bit more humanoid again, but still it's deviating from the norm we have currently, so that's really nice. And apart from the fishman and the other two, we also currently have the snake, or the big underground worm. This one is really cool. It's missing some extra effects I want to add to it still, for going underground and going above ground. Also has an attack that goes really well with spitting out acid or fire. Haven't done that yet either, but that's all coming soon. Another thing I've worked on is NPC interactions. First on the list is NPCs actually looking each other in the face. This also includes the player, by the way. So if any of the NPCs or the player comes close enough, they'll start looking at you. Apart from that, I've also worked on improving or expanding the drive system. Haven't really gone in depth on the drive system yet. We'll probably do that in the future, or in a future video, but for now the drive system allows NPCs to have purpose during the day. The newest drive added is the shop drive. This allows the NPC, if they do not have any work, to go shopping. They'll go through the city, go to random stores or the marketplace, check out stuff while they're there, and maybe talk with the vendor there. Apart from that, I've also introduced or reintroduced more chats between NPCs. I had a whole system in the past for this, but that was way too complicated. I've simplified it now. You can see it in the background. when two friendly NPCs, so this means they have to know each other, meet each other outside and they haven't talked for a while. They'll start a conversation, do some small talk. Yeah, that's it. And that brings us to the more abstract part of the episode. This is going to be about generating quests and also events. As you can see here, there's quite a lot to go into. There's quest steps, quest intros, generation steps, events, and how to finish it all up. Yeah, I'll get more into it as we go along. So the first one is quest steps. What are they? Every quest consists out of steps. These steps determine the flow and the intensity of each quest. There are 10 unique quest steps that make a quest unique itself. We have escort, explore, investigate, kill, negotiate, protect, repair, rescue, sabotage, and steal. So let's see what that actually means. For the escort step, it's what it says: move a friendly related character to the quest giver from point A to B. The next one up is explore. Exploring is exploring a location defined by the quest giver. This can include possible obstacles such as puzzles and traps. The next one is investigation. There can be a few things you have to investigate. It could be you have to question a few witnesses. You have to maybe decipher some clues that have been given to you, or you actually have to search for clues, or you have to do some infiltration into an enemy hostile group. The kill one is a big one, of course. What is there to kill? You can have a hunting quest step where you have to kill X amount of enemy type. These are very basic, of course, but you also have assassinations. This can be on very specific, unique NPCs and can result in quests being cancelled or aborted because you had to kill somebody that was involved in that. And of course, boss fights, as you can see highlighted in the background here. The next step, negotiate. Might have to do a few things for this step, like having to have the target join the group you're doing the quest for, or having the target stop an activity or event they're doing. More on events later. Have the target leave the location they're in, or gain an item from the target. Next up is protecting. What is there to protect? You can protect the character, so you're acting as sort of a bodyguard. You can guard a group as a soldier, or you have to defend a location for a certain period of time. Next one is repair. There's a lot to repair sometimes. Can be items in your inventory or for the target quest giver, of course, or actually items in the overworld that have to be repaired. So these are interactables. Small example here in the background. Rescuing. You might have to rescue either a character or an item that has been taken hostage or has been taken away from the quest giver. And sabotage. You might have to sabotage an event that is going on by preventing it from happening or actually stopping it if it's ongoing. Or you might have to sabotage a group by lowering their rank/status. And then steal. That kind of speaks for itself. You're being told to steal an item from somebody else. Now, a quest can consist out of multiple steps that spices things up. During quest generation, I take into account which steps make more sense to follow each other up. This also kind of ties into setting up intensities for quests and taking into account the abilities of the character. I haven't really gone into this yet. It's still up for debate if I'm going to go with it as is, but I feel really good with what I have right now. So these are the core abilities the player can level up and their character is based on: strength, spirituality, endurance, charisma, intelligence, and luck. So what do those actually do? All of them have two main attributes they kind of attribute to. Strength is very focused on melee and health. Spirituality is more the magic side. Endurance gives you weight control, so being allowed to carry more, not carry more, but more wear more, like the Souls games. And your stamina amount, which is used for both strength attacks and magic attacks. Charisma, which gives your partner bit more power. So partner, I'm intending on having a full partner system like the Fallout games. I really like that. Other thing is better shop prices. For intelligence, repair and pick lock will be affected, but also stat scaling bonuses. So if you get items that scale with your stats, if you're intelligent or more intelligent, those stat bonuses will affect more. For luck, better crits, but also funny reasons for quests or tasks to be auto completed. You'll be surprised by that once it comes out. I won't go more into detail for that one. This ties into the quest stage types that we just discussed. Every quest stage type affects two core abilities. That way, I can also kind of generate quests that fit the character better, the player character. Yeah, it just allows for more adjustments, for more customizability. So that's quest steps. But a quest also needs an introduction, of course, and that's a whole separate step. There are multiple ways to start a quest. Quests can have multiple intros. These are the four I've defined for now. We have quest boards. You kind of saw them in the background already during the start of this video. Quest boards provide simpler quests or the first quest in quest lines. You could just walk up to them in the city market and choose any available. The other one is coming from events. So an event is happening, and that's actually triggering the possibility to accept a quest. Examples are an NPC approaching the player, a fight at the market, a public execution or hanging, or a theft happening in front of the player. Another one can be from quest givers, just walking directly up to them. If you start a conversation with an NPC, you can ask them, have you heard any rumors? If they do not have any quests for you, they'll just talk gossip or tell maybe any events that they have witnessed relatively soon. Uh, or if they do have a quest, they'll actually start giving it to you through the dialogue system. And the last one is quest completion. This kind of speaks for itself. It's when you finish a quest, the next quest is activated through the quest line. Next up is the generation steps. So we had quest steps. That's of course different from the generation steps. The generation steps determine how the quest is generated. There are three major steps in order to generate a quest. Determine difficulty, intensity, and size. The first one, kind of already hinted at that earlier. Here we go back to that overview. So in order to determine the difficulty and intensity and size of a quest, I can look at the different types of quest steps that we can add to the quest. These all carry their own intensity levels, and this contributes to the overall generation algorithm. The next step is picking those quest steps that fit the requirements picking the requirements for every quest step. Sorry. This means that every step has their own requirements in order to be activated. So every quest step has their own target subject and a target location, and then every quest step also have the very specific setups that are needed. So, for example, if you have a repair quest step, you need to determine which item or which interactable needs to be repaired. So these variables are determined during this step. And then last up is setting up the quest intros. Like we said earlier, we have the quest board. You can go directly to the quest giver themselves. An event starts happening, and through that event, you get a quest. Or, and that's not been discussed yet, you find an item in the overworld during another quest or during adventuring, and by picking up this item, you trigger another quest, and that's generation steps. Next up is events. So this is a completely different system by itself, but it's very necessary for quests to be able to be generated. Events can just happen randomly in the world, or they can be linked to quests. Right now, I have 6 of them defined, so let's see what they are. We have the ambush event. This means the player or the NPC character that's targeted is being ambushed by a small mob group. The second one is a delivery event. Yeah, kind of what it says. A package is being delivered by the target character from a start location to a destination location. A meeting, just a meeting between two characters. Being approached, a character being approached by another character with a question. A public confrontation, target characters being approached by subject characters about some beef the involved characters have with each other. And a public execution. This was already kind of shown before. So these events, as said earlier, can be completely random or can be linked to quests. Events are remembered by NPCs, so NPCs can actually talk about them and actually use them to kind of determine who they like and who they not like, depending on if the event has a positive outcome for them or not. And then we get to the last step, and that is finishing a quest. When a quest is finished, there's a few things that can happen. Of course, we get the rewards. Rewards include experience points, of course. We also work with reputation. This can be for the group you've been working for. So, say, for example, a guild or a small town. Fame, same thing here. That's more for locations. Cash, that's of course a simple reward, and loot is also included. And then the follow up. If a quest is part of a quest line, you can start a new quest after this and update impacted NPC drive status. So if an NPC has a drive to protect somebody and the quest was to make sure that the attackers have been killed, their drive to protect another character can be paused or stopped from here on. So what's actually already in the game working? Not that much, unfortunately. There's a lot working, but yeah, a lot of it is groundwork, and you can't really show that off yet. What is working is the first introduction to quests, which is the quest board. You can see here that you can browse through a few basic quests here. You can also see a preview of how those quest steps work, making quests more difficult than just doing one thing, requiring you to do multiple things in order to finish. After accepting one of these quests, you'll have to go to the quest giver who put the note down on the quest board. You can see there's now a navigational bar on the bottom that kind of points you in the direction of where to go. Now, once you arrived at the quest giver, you can talk to them and actually officially accept the quest. Processing the gameplay for the actual quest steps is not in yet. That's what I'm working on right now. But as you can imagine, that's quite a lot of work. Hopefully in the next video I can show that off. That's going to be really cool, having the full quests and quest lines done. But for now, this is it. In case you liked what you saw and you really want to support me, you can head over to my Ko-Fi page and either do a one-time donation or subscribe to one of my membership levels. Either way, thank you for watching and see you next time.